Even though I wish I could have him back, I'm very proud of who he is and who he was.
Learn to live was a phrase used by Nadine's son. These are now words that give this grieving mother strength 2 years on from his murder. Keelan was stabbed while waiting for a pizza on a busy Brixton street. He was 22.
It was so public and broad daylight, and I saw Keelan dying on Snapchat. I'm upset that he had to pass away like that and be filmed.
Listening to this account, a team from Kingsway Community Connections in Glasgow. They're here to learn from those with experience of dealing with the aftermath of knife crime.
Yeah.
These youth workers were brought together by a chance connection. A friendship formed, and very quickly they identified universal challenges. This has led to a UK-wide call for action.
Thank you.
Oh, gosh. Thank you.
We can be lulled into thinking that things are okay, but we're on the front lines with Kingsway and others are telling you things are not okay. This is a national crisis, not a local issue.
You firmly believe that this is a crisis?
100%.
Brixton, Glasgow, two very different places, different issues, you're two different groups.
There's no difference. Children in Brixton are no different from children in Glasgow, Edinburgh, Cumbernauld, Dundee, wherever you go, children are children. And the root causes, poverty, inequality, deprivation, racism, etc., they're the same wherever you are.
Those leading these two community organisations say they didn't set out to be anti-knife crime hubs, but for the visitors from Glasgow, that all changed in March following the death of 15-year-old Amin Taklai. 2 teens have been charged with his alleged murder, which they deny. Away from the continuing legal proceedings, the group Amin attended is looking for help, as it says it's stretched to the limit. A relative of a Kingsway staff member knew of another community centre that had worked to rebuild its youth services after tragedy.
Good morning.
Months later, the two groups finally met.
Welcome.
For us to get together and connect in the way that we have, it's a momentous occasion.
It's a finally meet here.
Even though we're in different environments, there are so many similarities and so much to learn from each other.
Those who run the Marcus Lipton Centre have had to make significant changes since a fatal stabbing inside its premises in 2019. Once past the stricter security measures, the space inside is welcoming, and staff are focused on providing youth and therapeutic services.
When we heard what had happened in Glasgow with the Kingsway team, we knew how deeply that was going to cut and the support that was needed. We were only happy to share our own experience over the years.
2 decades ago, Glasgow was at the forefront of violence reduction, but Kingsway staff say they have felt left alone to pick up the pieces. They want a more robust community response.
I'm hugely frustrated. I'm also terrified that it falls so far off the agenda because it's not, something else takes its place and it's like, oh, we'll just let that go and we won't address it. I'm terrified that that's going to happen. That's why I'm here.
Glasgow's reaching out to a project in London to ask for support to understand what to do. This sort of work you can't just leave. It's what sustains communities, it's what keeps violence down.
You're there for your community, and just getting that reassurance was so powerful, just to know that we weren't on our own.
Around the table, they discuss the scale of the challenges and hear of collective approaches that are built on trust.
The other thing you're saying, the more you do, the more people expect you to do. Once you start doing something and it's working, especially with young people, and if they're coming to you, you can't stop it.
No.
In the surrounding estates, fellow support workers open up about what they have witnessed.
I'll never forget that day. It was so haunting, like her screams.
The knife crime, gang violence, and a level of trauma that has at times threatened to overwhelm limited resources.
You look around the community, you see hopelessness and helplessness. And for a split second, that's how I felt. It's the community that is there and holding the young people, because they're experiencing the trauma of losing a friend, or, you know, they're scared about what's going to happen to them.
From experience, they know how critical it is to get the emergency community response right.
I cry and I go through the motions. I'm out here some days, I lose my mind.
Nadine Searchwell stands at the memorial created for her son. It is across the road from where Keelan was stabbed. But this area has become a place where relatives and friends celebrate his life.
As parents, we take for granted our children. We just feel like they're just here. When people heard that Keelan passed away from being stabbed, they judged first. And it wasn't till later when they found out that he wasn't that person. I felt like I don't accept that. When I see another child pass away, I don't judge somebody who's lost their life.
If I'm going to be honest, beneath the surface, there is this misconception that this is a problem that affects a certain group of people. And if I'm not really affected by it, I don't really have to worry about it. And I want to emphasize to everyone that nothing could be further from the truth. There's no them in this equation, there's only us. And if we don't act like these are our own children, at some point we're all going to feel it in some way. We learned from Glasgow many years ago that the public health approach is really critical. And we think there are layers on top of that that include, prioritizing relationship and trust building with young people across the board.
That public health approach was pioneered by the Scottish Violence Reduction Unit. London sought advice from Glasgow when setting up its own version. The Kingsway team is keen to learn more about how its community-based strategy was developed.
We have a lot of time to spend within the communities and really get to know the communities.
Here, a number of organisations, including those at the grassroots, have formed a consortium, an ecosystem, to deliver a range of services, to share intelligence and to provide wraparound support. Young people and peer mentors play important roles.
Step outside the Marcus Lipton Centre and straight away you're in the middle of some of Brixton's busiest housing estates. I'm off to meet some of the centre's youth workers who are at a project just a short walk away from here, and I'm told it's pretty unique.
We're at Ebony Horse Club in Brixton. It is one of the few places where young people can come to access horses. I can't lie to you, the first time I came up and saw a horse, I said, yeah, you want me to go near that thing? Right. You lot? Crazy. You get me? Like, motorbikes, I'll do it. Cars, I'll do it. Trucks, buses, everything else, I'll do it. Horses? The programs I've been involved in, we were looking at how horsemanship can reduce violence. Growing up in Brixton, I've witnessed shootings, stabbings, lost family to knife crime. Role models definitely helped me navigate my way through that.
We're trying to understand the mindset of why would a young person pick up a knife? Why would they carry a knife?
Like, think about it like this, yeah? I've been in situations where I'm going Mother's Day shopping with my little brother, and we're seeing other young people get run down the high street with samurai swords. Do you understand? So it's like, you seeing that on a regular basis and that occurring regular, it's quite easy to say to yourself, actually, I need something to protect myself. Like, there's some young people that treat their knives like their keys. Do you get it? They stick their keys in their pocket and their knife goes in their pocket as well.
We want to prevent it from getting to the point that you're getting stabbed in the first place.
Abdoul's work focuses on bridging the gap between young people and the authorities.
These are the young people on the verge of being excluded, and we work with them. Their teachers see the change in them. They see the way that we approach them, and many of them have finished school.
He draws on his own experiences to connect with those viewed as the hardest to reach.
I was a young man carrying a lot of rage, a lot of energy. I've been stabbed 5 times. Yeah, hammered in my head, hit with a knuckle duster and everything. I'm happy to be here. I've prevented so many other young people from dying. I've been in the middle of gangs about to fight. And all of that, the respect that they had for me is the reason why I didn't carry on.
In Glasgow and here in Brixton, the authorities point to statistics that show violence is down, but in both cities they warn there is no room for complacency.
6.5 years ago, online and social media was not particularly a problem. It is now absolutely uppermost when you speak to any youth worker or when you speak to any young person. So, you know, we've got to keep very agile and listen. I think it's very important, and then respond.
Their experience of life is happening largely now online through their phones. They're really living a life that in many ways isn't real, but it's real to them because that's what they're exposed to. And the messaging and communications that are happening on these apps are without adult supervision or guidance.
Long-term funding is the biggest obstacle to this work. Both teams are at a crossroads. This visit drew to a close with a trip to Westminster. There, a joint call was made for urgent action at every level.
We do not need government to simply give us funding and step away. We need them on the field with us. We need their expertise, we need their authority, and we need their resources.
Like many smaller organisations, Kingsway staff run youth activities alongside its other work in an attempt to plug gaps in services.
And you said gaps, I would call them chasms. There's excellent community organisations, but we're not enough. We're not plentiful enough. The challenges that we're facing in relation to funding, you know, the Marcus Lipton, they're looking at having to fund their organisation after November. We're looking at the end of March, you know, our shutter might come down then and we're no opening the door. There has to be a funding model for community organisations that is a longevity funding model that allows us to plan, to grow, to develop with our communities. Communities are lifelong, so we're looking at 5 to 10 year funding models.
We're looking for leadership in this country and central government to join us on the front lines with this work, rather than sort of toss some money over the fence and say good luck.
Inside Marcus Lipton, its young people are encouraged to take ownership, to be creative and to set personal goals. The facilities here are something the visitors from Glasgow can only dream of, but this trip has given them a fresh perspective on how to tackle what can seem like an insurmountable challenge.
If you're talking about horses, I can tell you something, that connection is awesome. And I can tell you when you're there on the field and you're riding around, you're feeling something kind of lawless. It's like adrenaline. When I'm really there.
The young people, they listen to what goes on down south, and then they're like, oh, we need to talk about this, that, the next thing. And we're like, we'll talk about other subjects. And that we'll show them and be like, it doesn't need to be about stabbings and gangs, and like, because it's just that mindset that they're following. They think that's what gives them the sort of respect and stuff. One day we'll bring young people up here, they'll get to see this, and everyone we've met has been just so cool and calm and laid back, just like the way the horses are.
90% of the young people are doing great things, if not 95, and only the 5% are doing the silly things, but they're always covered on these articles, and then the negativity comes into the lives of the 90%, 95%.
So I feel like it's definitely something we can stop, but we need to give young people a different reason why and different purpose to live by. If we're not shown the path of how to get there, or at least given some form of these are the skills you need to get there, then we're not going to think it's possible.
Thank you, see you soon. See you soon.
This visit leaves both groups with a lot to process and plans for future services, but they know they need to stay open to make this happen.
I feel like it's the beginning of something really special and hopefully the beginning of change.
There's that kind of shared grief that we have, although I also seen the determination, the resolve. That attitude is just flowing out of people here. This isn't going to beat us, you know, we're going to keep going. Our children deserve better.